Mm. So, couple of things. So, we are going to finish this today's morning walk, and then I was thinking we can summarize this. It's only a minute left from last week in the whole conversation. But that 1 minute, why I didn't want to take it last week, because that is a very important point he is making, and I think half of this today maybe we will be discussing that, and then maybe half of the time we can discuss um, the summary of this and what we learned and summarize for everyone. Okay, so let us start this.
Having money. So all GBC members must see that in every temple, everyone is engaged.
That is the meaning of leadership.
That is the meaning of leadership.
And that all devotees are protected.
Huh?
And all the devotees are protected.
Yes, everyone should be engaged. And if everyone is engaged, he'll never fall sick. Yeah. The farmers, their son, they're giving up the farming business,
Going to the city.
going to the city. In your country also?
Yes, yeah.
Or you have nothing to do with farming?
Excuse me?
Your country, there is nothing to do with farming. You
No.
got petrol.
No, there is a lot of good land.
So let me just put it in perspective. Um, this this Atre Rishi, he was originally from Iran. So when Srila Prabhupada is, I think he came as a student and then he was working here and then he. So when he says in your country, it doesn't mean USA, it means Iran. And so he's saying in Iran also there is good land, but they are not developing it. But here, earlier, he is talking about the farmers, sons, they are giving up the farming business, going to the city, going to city. And then he says in your country also, that's Iran. So this is the point I wanted to discuss. The farmers, their sons, they are giving up the farming business, going to the city, going to the city. This I have seen it for all these years, and we all know the statistics also. The USA was built, it was a rural, rural whole character. The founders of USA, they were mostly all had land holdings. And over the years, I mean, whoever the leaders have been around the world, they all have had um, land holdings. They were farmers, and then also they do other things, but they also, everyone always had farming background or farms, or somehow they are involved in farming. It's only in the last, like since the tractor came, you can see the statistics also. And in US, specifically after the Second World War, when they came from Germany and they learned these big highways from Germany, how Hitler was making the highways, and so Eisenhower, it seems he started implementing the same kind of highways, the freeways that we know in the US. And so that's where the whole expansion of the city started happening, and so much the rural area became closer to the cities. And the second thing happened is there was this is what I hear, this is what I read, and please correct me if I'm wrong. They had so much of ammunition left over, even in the First World War, Second World War too. So they started building fertilizers from it, the leftover ammunition, um, phosphorus, and so a lot of fertilizers were being utilized. And I don't want to go into all the controversial things, but a lot of the businesses, the agri-businesses, they wanted to mechanize more and more and develop the cities where there were factories or office people or there were centers of trade, because of which the migration started happening. But the but, but the original cause, original cause, why would people living in a village with their family, it's nice environment there, fresh food. There has to be some reasons why people will move or want to move to the cities. And I have tried to research personally, like experiencing on the ground, what are the problems, why there is an incentive to go to the city. What I found is first and foremost is the farming doesn't produce enough income. Now, income is also a loaded word. Srila Prabhupada says we should be satisfied with basic necessities. Now, the basic necessities, what people think, have increased. And Srila Prabhupada says basic necessities, people think even all these clubs, movies, theaters, and all this other entertainment, these are basic necessities. And so people living in the villages, they may think, oh, I don't have money to do all of these things. Let me go to the city, earn money, come back. But that is also a fact that it has been tough to, or almost impossible to maintain, even subsistence wise, to maintain oneself just by farming. I have been seeing like land doesn't produce enough. Maybe because, I mean, it's there in the Bhagavatam that when there is so much of sin in the world, then Mother Earth, she stops producing. There have been instances in the Bhagavatam. Badri Prabhu, do you want to do you remember reading Prithu Maharaj's pastime? In the fourth canto, it comes that Prithu Maharaj, he was very upset uh, with the with the Mother Earth because she was not producing enough, and so because of which he actually took his uh, um, the chariot, and he started plowing the land, and he divided the world into 7 continents and such. It's there in the Bhagavatam. So he made it more workable because his father used to be a very, very sinful man, King Bena. And so it is described in the Bhagavatam that the earth stopped producing enough. So that is one reason. She doesn't produce enough. There are many diseases, pests comes. The seeds also don't have their original potency. So whether it's because of material ways of not saving them properly, not keeping the heirloom structure of many of the main seeds, or it is just the earth has just reduced the potency in the seeds. I do not know. Um, but that is a fact. And second also uh, is that the knowledge also has gone down, the traditional knowledge, which is required. Like I know in India directly, and here too, in the US. Um, in India, the traditional knowledge of how to use cow dung, cow urine with the seeds and cover them and on from the moon and all this the knowledge Krishi Vigyan, it's not so permeable, permeated to different farmers. That is another could be reason. Here also, the Native American, so many techniques people don't know how to utilize, which they knew from back then, especially their food forests. And we have read about them in archaeological, they're called what is it? Bio um, architect, or they go, they, they are not excavating for artifacts from long back. But these archaeologists, they excavate the layers of the soil to find out the composition, and by which they date and understand what was the biological formation or the composition, and then that's how they try to understand. So there is another whole stream of archaeologists like that. So they have done this, and we understand that they were food forest, managed food forests, even in the Americas, which knowledge is almost lost. They are producing a lot earlier. So knowledge is another reason why Earth is probably not producing seeds, and since also we already discussed. Fourth is the climate disruptions which has happened. I don't want to call it climate change because climate is always changing. We also hear in even the modern history, ice age and so many things have happened. But climate disruptions have been happening such that which we observe as farmers, we observe that sometimes it is famine, sometimes flood. It's like seasons are not getting fixed. The frost date, even though it is fixed according to the year, which year around which from according to the moon calendar, but the moon calendar is off in the farmer's almanac now. All farmers can tell one that it doesn't really work. So to plan that and then plan around that is tough. Um, but of course, the technology and other things are coming to try to mitigate some of these effects. But finally, the thing is that the result is that it doesn't produce enough. The farmers are feeling the pinch, even for basic necessities, even to take care of their families, especially in the countries where it is tough to subsist without any tech, and when they don't have technology so much, they cannot use these chemical fertilizers which give a sudden boost, and they don't have like the hybridized really good seeds they cannot afford. Of course, those also have all this other side effects which they are not being seen, but even for the time being, they don't get enough income, enough grains or vegetables, because of which the subsistence farmers, they also aren't able to survive. And there could be other reasons, and devotees could feel, they can come in now and tell us if there are any other reasons. Even later in the YouTube, people can write comments and we can discuss that later. So, because of which farmers are moving to the city. Uh, what Srila Prabhupada says, the farmers are, it's so many reasons. And other reasons which sorry. So some reasons are because of real subsistence, real need of basic necessities for subsistence farmers is not being met just by farming, and no other opportunities in the rural area to survive, because it is finally farming dependent. But the other reason which Srila Prabhupada keeps saying is that there is material desires to do sinful activities, to to enjoy in clubbing culture and so many other ways to enjoy, which is possible in a city atmosphere, because in villages it is much less, even in Kali Yuga, even around the world. So that is also there why people are moving to the villages. Let's just read some comments. Ram Prabhu says, if devotees do farming for Krishna, will Krishna via the planet Earth adjust the situation specially for devotees because of devotion? Example, a useless seed becomes a great seed. Dry land becomes great land. Can you explain that, Prabhu? Like Prabhupada says, if there is no rain, let us do Harinam, which will bring rain. What is this thing? A useless seed becomes a great seed. Dry land becomes a great land. Oh, there was a full stop. Okay. Yes, of course. So, well, it is also a little bit nuanced, what I've experienced. So, definitely, this by Sankirtan rains, definitely not just can come, I have myself seen, and we worked on it, and rains came even in the desert. I know it for sure. It works. I have faith in the statements of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is saying, "Annad bhavanti bhutani." What is that verse? That by sacrifice the rains come, and by rains the anna comes. So the other problems are also there. We are living in this sinful society, just like pandemic happened. It's not that devotees who were chanting didn't get sick. It's not like we can be immune to these issues in the world. And we all feel the summer, which when it comes, like in India now, all over the world there is heat wave, horrible heat wave, severe. So it's not like devotees are not experiencing that. It's not that the crops are not experiencing that. Our crop, which we had planted, started burning. So Vinay is thinking um, of making it like sprinkling, turning on sprinklers to have some moisture come on, so that it can be, so that it'll find some relief. The plants, they are burning, the leaves are burning. So definitely it will help. Definitely, at least Krishna will make sure that the people are able to maintain themselves, but it will be hard, unless they have their really great devotion and or good karma, because of which they are able to overcome the collective karma, so to say, and live. But as we know, people who are going to be doing farming, subsistence farming from the Bhagavad Gita, it is many times it'll take great determination for them to overcome the mode of passion and ignorance to be chanting so determinedly by hearing and trying to remove offenses, because it is tough. Um, so it is a problem which needs to be solved. How? I feel this is why the Varnasrama Colleges, combination of different factors, and also mass Sankirtan, and many other reasons which we can go through as we go over. Whatever I've understood, some, and other people can give some more input. Good Gita, all living bodies subsist on food grains which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yajna, sacrifice, and yajna is born of prescribed duties. It's Bhagavad Gita 3:14. Thank you, Prabhu. Badri, Prabhu, you have anything to share?
Prabhu, you were saying that one needs to have a certain amount of determination along with Hari and to chant the Harinam, and then Harinam produces all of these changing effects, right?
Yeah.
But is determination actually the driving factor, or the holy name, the driving factor?
So when Krishna himself was asked this question by Arjuna in 6th chapter, and that's why I was saying, so Arjuna was asked, what happens if one does not become perfect? One can be like a raven cloud. Raven means comes and goes without any kind of um, group, or it is just like hanging around, without much strength or anything. So if his question was that if a yogi, one is trying to go forward in yoga practice, but he is not able to, what will happen? Maybe we can read it, what Krishna says here. 1 second, let me bring it up. Let me bring up. I'm not able to bring up Prabhupada.com. I don't know why. Prabhupadbooks.com. Um, Balaram,
Yeah, I'm also having trouble getting into that website.
so is there any other website which you can look for?
Yeah. Do you know the text number?
6th chapter.
Mhm.
So later verses, I'll tell you. 1 second. It's verse number 33 onwards. 6th chapter 33.
That's the system of yoga, which you have summarized appears impractical for me. That one?
Yeah.
You want the whole purport also?
Yeah, just if you could like bring up in the share chat. Share.
Post it there, yes?
Can you share it for everyone to see? Because if you post, it will not be visible to
Okay. I'll
later
try
on.
to share now. But this is the Bhaktivedanta Veda base because I'm unable to get anything else.
So I don't know if it will be changed but could you go to the earlier version?
I don't know how to do that.
There will be a place to say the previous version, like 1972 version.
I don't see anything like that.
Okay, let me bring it up then.
Anyway, I'll share the link and then you can go take it from there.
Okay. Sorry about that. It is very strange that website is my go-to website. Yeah, this is the changed version. We don't know whether.
Yeah, it says here account is suspended for this Prabhupada IO.
Let's go to. Let's just read it then. Let's not waste everyone's time. 6th chapter. You want to read it? 6th chapter from 13th verse.
From the original book, you mean?
Yeah. Not the 13th verse. So this one was it 30.
Well, let me find another. There's another website that has Prabhupada books.
33. Okay, let me start reading at least. So
Right.
Arjuna said, "O Madhusudan, the system of yoga, this 6th chapter, 33rd verse." Arjuna said, "O Madhusudan, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. So Lord Krishna says, Arjuna keeps saying, for the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna. Not to subdue, and to subdue it seems to me more difficult than controlling the wind. The blessed Lord said, O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by constant practice and by detachment. Then he says, for one whose mind is unbridled, self realization is difficult work, but he whose mind is controlled and who strives by right means is assured of success. That is my opinion. So, strives with right means. In what? In constant practice and by detachment. So that is where and in the Srila Prabhupada in the purports is writing how this is a determination. This so chanting Hare Krishna mantra, it requires some determination to hear the mantra. Otherwise, the mind, it is obstinate and restless and very difficult to control. But by the hearing, the sound vibration can control the mind. So, but to do that, that inside that endeavor has to be really put, like, I want to hear the mantra. I want to I want to absorb Krishna inside me, inside and come Krishna in my heart and purify everything. So that desire comes with determination to the sincerity that I want to get out of this three modes of material nature and get out of all these issues that I'm facing. So that is what I was talking about.
So going back to the other Prabhu's comments, right? So if we just said the holy name of the Lord, if we continue to recite the holy name of the Lord, will it change these conditions, irrespective of whether we have the determination or not? Will the name alone influence the changing of these conditions to become conducive for us?
So I want to tell you by my own experience, based on the scriptures, what I saw. Why I say that is because I try to understand from the eyes of the scriptures where things have been done like this before. And I saw those symptoms and those activities and I understood how it can work actually. So I have to give you a little background. I'm talking about the state of Rajasthan in India. It is 2/3 of desert, and 1/3 of the whole Rajasthan is pure desert, like really arid. Not just arid, it's desert. The rest of it is arid, but very little rain. And basically nothing survives there. You can't grow vegetables. We are going to the villages. So it's like when we go to one house, they say, we have made something special for you. What? Kher and sangri sabji. Because these are some trees and shrubs which grow even in the desert. Then the next day, somebody else invited us and they said, we have made something very special for you today because you've come. What? Kher sangri sabji. So that's all there is. Like very, very little things grow but some of the richest states, some of the richest kingdoms in India and maybe in the world were these states. And I tried to understand how was it? How was it that this is how did they become so rich, so flourishing? There are so many stories of how rich they were, how the jewels and gems and diamonds, how much people used to wear and keep with them. Sometime later I can share. But the point is that I saw what they did was, see, there specifically I looked into the biography of this king called Jai Singh, who established Jaipur in early part of 18th century, 1720, 30, something like that. It's almost 300 years back. before the US was founded. So he established in such a manner that, and we can go in detail later, but such that all over he implemented his policies with a lot of thought. He was a great devotee of the Lord. And Radha Govind Dev Ji from Vrindavan, Rupa Goswami's deities, and they came there to Jaipur. And they became his main deity of the court, of the state. And he with, of course, when deities come, brahmanas come, devotees come from Rupa Goswami's, Srila Rupa Goswami, Lord Chaitanya's follower, direct follower, direct disciple. His disciples came, we can assume, and we know from fact, after talking to the Goswami who takes care of the deities, that they came, and in the court this was discussed on how this, I mean, Bhagavad Gita, this verse is very clear, 3:14, that by sacrifice this happens. So what sacrifice Lord Chaitanya is saying in Kali Yuga? It's like Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yagya Sankirtan Praye Yajantihi Sumedasa. This 11th canto, 5th chapter, 32nd verse, which is invoking that Lord Chaitanya is going to come in this age, and he is going to propagate the Sankirtan. And this is the yagya which all the intelligent people do. So the Brahmanas, I mean, he was a great devotee. He started implementing Sankirtan in all the villages. Now, if we see all the towns and villages, like even small village in the whole state, had a Radha Krishna temple or Ram Sital temple. Even now they are existing, 300-year-old, 250-year-old, those times. 10, 15 years back, when I was really going in these villages, even then I saw some places they were doing, they call it Ramdhun, which is Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And before, people tell me even 10, 15 years back, before so many people moved to the cities, so 10, 15 years back, before the summertime, like during the summertime, before the rainy season in the summertime, every night, whole night, every day, there'll be Ramdhun, basically Hare Krishna mantra going on. This was culturally, it was there among all the villagers. And it is still like people know this. As soon as we start chanting Hare Krishna, oh, we know this is Ramdhun. So they chant like this, Hare Ram, Hare, like that, the Vedic mantra which is there, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. In South India also, Sri Vaishnavas, they chant like this, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.
That's right.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So that has been going on. So that was implemented and rich. So, I mean, even I have seen it 15 years back, 20 years back, even in this desert place like Jaipur, which is like you see sand, you walk on sand in the city. The water table was 6 to 8, 10 feet, just like rich South Indian states, no? You see the water table like Tamil Nadu, Kerala. Kerala is very high water table, but Tamil Nadu, Karnataka is like that. You dig a little bit pond and the water will come. It's like that. UP, there is, so that was the place, that is what was happening there. Later on we can talk just about that later, but I have seen it myself happening. It was implemented by a king, a devotee king, made the kingdom really flourishing, at least economically, and we hear so many other ways it was flourishing. As a center of learning, trade, all the different innovations were happening. I mean, in Jaipur was really, really he wanted to build it like a Paris of the East. Anyway, so definitely it happens, but the Kali Yuga effects will still more or less be there. Like age will be reducing, diseases will be there, because people can't follow everything. They can't chant Hare Krishna mantra fully, properly. So because of which these effects will come. And there is common karma also in a sense. it can be warded off by all these activities to a large extent. But the effects, the residual effects, or just knowing that we are experiencing, that will always be there because we are right now living in Kali Yuga, 5,000 years gone. Any other point? Ayush, Hare Krishna. Leo Prabhu, you have any points to make?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna to the rest of the devotees. Um, point is just based upon a reflection of what you just said. I really have no point. Just knowing so much that I remember thinking about the glories of an Ekadashi. I forgot which one, where even the king wouldn't allow the animals to eat or drink on the day of Ekadashi. And so everything starts from the top, really. And like you said, other karmas of superior powers. So it's I get that part. Now there are certain ways, I guess, to deal with the current conditions of how we live, I guess, in this state, this fallen state. From what I've seen, even in drought cities, I mean drought countries like in Africa, um, they're producing different type of ways to avoid drought, which I saw is like some type of crescent moon hole they dig up and in large amounts. Um, there's certain spaces in between, and that collects rainwater, and it turns arid, dry regions now into flourishing vegetation. So, and this is probably ancient stuff that's been known. Like you said, there's Native Americans who know certain type of stuff, but permaculture is one of those. I guess one of those hacks you could say, possibly. My father, he's trying those things out over there in his country, in our country, in Colombia. So, because he's having issues with drought, but so that's just the fallen state that we're in, and then we have to deal with the hand that's dealt to us. But definitely Harinam and Sankirtan is very important, because it could, just the power of that can negate some. I don't know if all. I'm not authorized to say yes or no on that. That's all I really, just have thought about it. Just certain type of ways that you could like work with Mother Bhumi in a certain type of way where she's just not um I guess providing based upon the fallen state. So, and permaculture I feel is one of those big ones.
Yeah, sure. No, but that's very important point. So, as I was mentioning earlier, the lack of knowledge is also one of the reasons why not so much production is there. And even if there is production by putting on fertilizers and pesticides and many mechanical methods, the cost of input is so high that finally the net income is tough to get for smaller fields and smaller areas, which is generally the subsistence farmers and normal people who would like to farm. So that is the reason why these methods are very important to understand and practice and figure out what to implement where, and um, just to get more sustainable options. Less input, less work means more net gain. But that will not be sufficient because they themselves have their own issues in permaculture, or um, we can later on we can go through it because I've tried so many things with in different farms, and Of course, we'll keep trying and working, and we are already doing this, but I can share more issues with them, the obstacles and challenges, just like purely, if we implement that, it was going to work, everything will be all right. They themselves have their, because so many things are interdependent. Practice also. Okay, any other point? So why
I
don't
just wanted to ask you actually, Nimai Pandit Prabhu, did Srila Prabhupada have two or even more models of farming? Because it seems like most of the time I've heard Prabhupada so far, his idea of Varnashram was people just produce in their own little piece of land what they need for them to eat. And there wasn't really an idea to make money, to have enough money extra to buy this or buy that or buy that. It was kind of keep everything simple, feed yourself, clothe yourself, and that's it. And then we hear him say about Mayapur that we've got all this land and it should produce so many amounts of grains. Like that's big farming. So did Prabhupada have different models for different situations of farming?
So if you remember when you were here later in the last year, we discussed this point too. And so the point is that Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says there are Chaturvarnaya Maya Shishtam. There are four classes of people. Everyone should farm, but they will all farm according to their motivation, energy, resources with them, So Brahmanas would farm what Srila Prabhupada is saying, just for your basic necessities. Why you have to get into any of these things? You concentrate your thought process in hearing, chanting, and developing preaching and your consciousness. And if one diverts, then the whole desires and everything will follow, and the whole main things will go away. But Kshatriyas, they used to basically own, like king would own the land and Kshatriyas would get like villages to administer. So they have to think about how everyone would, and they have to pay for all their expenses for managing and developing. And Vaishyas, their motivation is money, is like lot of wealth. Like like Nanda Maharaj had 1 lakh cows, Srila Prabhupada says. Now, for subsistence farming, how many? 20, 50, 100,000, 10,000 cow. I mean, how 1 lakh cows? Why did he have? He is producing extra, no, and he was paying taxes from it through to Kamsa we hear, and they were producing so much that it was like freely being given to people, like charity. And also, I know they were wearing very luxurious clothes. About Krishna book explains that, and they were very rich, really rich people. So Vaishyas would grow a lot because their motivation is that money. Shudras, also people who have other activities going on and who are working for others, they also would have a small piece of land just for themselves, the subsistence. So these are different people, different thing. And but Srila Prabhupada, when he was here, who was the audience he was telling. This is what we hear from Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. These are the principles. But when he is here in late 60s and 70s, he is talking to certain people who are who are devotees in the temple and such, who are trying to become Brahmanically inclined. And for them, these are the instructions, because each class would be given is given certain different instructions in the scriptures. So Srila Prabhupada is following that. And that's how I understand it. Srila Prabhupada is following what he has written himself, Guru Sadhu Shastra, and then he is telling to Brahmanically inclined people, don't go all these places. But those people in the Mayapur, they are acting like managers. So they have to maintain everybody. So he's telling them to produce more and make money and maintain. And then for Vaishyas, he would tell, make as much as you want, because that's how they will be fully engaged. No? He says in this conversation too, that they should be fully engaged. That's expert management. So we are at 7:50. Any other point anyone else has? I don't think we'll get to in the summary of the lecture today. The whole conversation today will, I think, take up next week. So with this itself, we can continue discussing. And please, any other points?
Actually, if you don't mind, if nobody else has any question, can you go further into this idea? Because it's the first time I've heard it, that every ashram should do farming. Because what we see in the application in Prabhupada's time was, let's say, almost zero farming. He just spent most of his time, if not all, cultivating, making devotees, setting up temples, writing the books. And then later, let's say when he had a community, then he said, okay, let's set up a farm community. So if you can elaborate more on that as to how all the Varnas, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, well, Vaishyas is clear already, but the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas were also expected by Prabhupada to take part in farming.
Yes, of course. So I'm trying to bring out his instructions. See, this is many places he has written, and I can maybe post it in the groups later, so that, because we have only a few minutes left. But what he says is like this, that everyone should have their own land and grow food for themselves. Many times he reiterates this point, and I've seen it in India. Srila Prabhupada himself gives so many examples of that. Different times he gives, oh, this person was growing, that person, even my servant was going to the village certain days of the year so that he could grow his food and then come back. Things like that. Brahmanas were always given land and cows by the king, to not that they would themselves farm, but they would oversee the farming by giving half of their land or something or some other arrangement to somebody to grow, either a Vaishya or a Shudra to grow for, and he would supervise it. Let's say he gives it to a Vaishya, he doesn't need to supervise too much because they are already growing, they're independent, they already know how to farm. He's giving it to a Shudra who they are employing, kind of, then he has to supervise more. So it depends on each Brahmana how much he would give. But king, when he gave the land, that was the understanding that whatever the Brahmana, however he supervises, the final net income would come to the Brahman's household, from which not only he'll take care of himself, but also he will trade with other sections, sell whatever, get gold, whatever. And if he wants to donate, he can donate. He should donate whatever he doesn't need, good Brahmana. But it is then up to them how they practice. So the growing it needs to be and was an integral part of growing food. I'm saying was and is and should be an integral part of every section. And I can post the different places where Srila Prabhupada writes that, where he says these things.
Okay, yeah. Why do you think? Let me bring in another two words actually to that, because usually when we have this word Brahmana, we hear Brahmana, Brahmachari, Sannyasi. But Brahmana, of course, can be a Grihastha, and then he has his economic need. How does what we're talking about relate to brahmacharis and sannyasis?
Brahmacharis and sannyasis, they don't work the land, the grihasthas do. But teachers, even if sannyasi, they need to, like, let's say there is a sannyasi teacher and they like farming. or somebody, they are ordered by their spiritual master or some other reason, you should teach farming, then they would know farming. They would learn each and every aspect of it very fast because they are expert already, like brain substance is there and purity is there of the mind, that they can learn very fast. And with the intuition, and with the intuition in the heart, they would be very expert at it, because, and so that they can teach by example. That's what Srila Prabhupada says in, you we will see in the March 14th morning walks. That's what he starts saying, that um, that sannyasis to teach, and then they should teach by example, and that they should become perfect very, they can become perfect very soon. So their goal is to Brahmana is Pathan and Pathan, read and explain. So they will do that too. But otherwise, the Grihasthas are supposed to actually do the farming. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. I will post all these different. I'll try to bring it together. This time is run out, but there are so many places, Srila Prabhupada. This is a normal. Uh, here I can actually share quickly. So anyway, the whole world situation is degrading, and people are not producing their own food. This is the problem. Kshetragya. This example is given as every man must possess a piece of land. Therefore, because it is very common thing, this example has been given. Kshetragya, 13th chapter. So as we till our land and get foodstuffs according to my labor, according to my intelligence. Food grains I can produce once, twice, thrice if I work hard. Generally, they work to anyway. So this is the point. Anyway, so let's finish this. 3 minutes left. So what I will do, this point, Balaram Prabhu, that I will go through different instructions which I remember and put them together about Srila Prabhupada saying how everyone should grow, everyone should have their land and everyone should grow. And basically he's saying different size and consciousness would matter according to the class. So, you know. And then next week that we can take that up and also try to summarize this whole lecture, whole conversation. Anyone else with any other points? You know what, we should finish the just to tell to ourselves, let's finish this.
But they're not developing. They're selling petrol.
Yeah. Yes, if they can get money underground, right? You are.
Done. No. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Prabhupada. See you Wednesday or Sunday.
Wednesday, 7 a.m. Yeah, next Wednesday, 7 a.m. Thank you.